W5.
I am Her Royal Majesty Queen Romana of the Kingdom of Canada.
A small town held hostage.
She thinks that she has been sent here to save people.
We don't know what they're going to do. They're unpredictable.
While some fall under the spell of its charismatic leader,
It's a digital fantasy. She's a content creator, and she's brilliant at it.
others feel threatened.
Somebody's got to help us out. We're running out of ideas.
You will receive not one, but 2 bullets.
Here is Avery Haynes.
Welcome to W5. She calls herself the Queen of Canada. Others call her a cult leader. Morella Fernandez enters the bizarre world of Romana Didulo, a woman who set up a compound in Saskatchewan, terrorizing the residents who live in the rural community.
In Saskatchewan, you can almost always see what's coming. Here, in the province's southwest, there are acres upon acres of flat farmers' fields. 20 kilometers east of the Alberta border, the farmland gives way to a small town, Richmount, Saskatchewan. Once a bustling hub for agriculture, oil, and gas, Richmount is now mostly inhabited by retirees and young families looking for an affordable place to live. With only 120 residents, it's generally a pretty quiet place. But in the fall of 2023, all of that changed. Those blaring horns to protest the unexpected arrival of this woman, Romana Didulo. She calls herself the Queen of Canada, a woman who has crisscrossed the country to share her strange and violent messages that promote the murder of police, politicians, and ordinary people. She does this by issuing her official orders.
The royal decrees that I have issued, basically removing all of the shackles put by the corporation government. I have also said that there is no more politics and no more politicians.
She tells Canadians not to pay their debts.
Queen Romana's in power and we're not paying any more bills. Utilities are free.
She also pushes conspiracy theories, a favorite about the danger of the COVID vaccine. Here's how she would punish healthcare workers who vaccinated children.
For each child that you have harmed, you will receive not 1, but 2 bullets on your forehead. Think very, very carefully before you touch that needle.
Before Richmount, Didulo and her followers landed in Kamsack, Saskatchewan. Residents there made it clear they weren't wanted.
Oh, wherever you came from, get out of here!
The group did not last a day. That's when a Richmount resident invited them to stay at an abandoned school.
I saw a vehicle coming down this road here. What the heck is that?
Roland Davis has been living in Richmount for 15 years. Her home sits directly opposite that school where the group is set up. You could say she's had a front row seat to all the comings and goings.
I saw 2 RVs, and then there was 2 cars, 2 pilot cars in front, and then 1 behind.
A bit of a convoy.
Yeah, quite a bit.
What's it been like for you living so close?
Horrible. You know, you watch the activity day in, day out. They're driving around school constantly, even at night.
Town residents like Davis complain that their lives have been turned upside down and that members of Didulo's group intimidate them.
I was working in my yard in the fall, and I could feel someone looking at me or watching me. I spotted someone, and they actually had their phone, and they were taking pictures. They probably have 1,000 pictures of me.
How does that make you feel?
Awful. It's like I haven't done anything wrong.
At least 8 people have taken residence inside that former school. A few other Richmount residents visit all the time.
I feel my freedom is basically stripped from me because I don't feel as free to come and go as I used to. I lock my door.
You didn't lock your door before?
Nope, it's a small town. It's a small town. We don't have to lock our door.
Tell me about the impact on your own family.
My daughter won't come with her kids. Last 2 winters, I brought my mom here for a week to stay here with me, and there's no way I would bring her here right now. My mom would not sleep at night, just knowing that they're this close, right?
So just who is Romana Didulo? She says she immigrated from the Philippines, where her parents died when she was young. Didulo moved to British Columbia at the age of 15. From the early 2000s, she ran or worked in several businesses, but truly emerged as a public persona during the pandemic. In 2020, she unofficially started a new political party.
I'm the founder and the leader of Canada First. It's time for us to clean up the swamp in Ottawa.
Within months, she went from party leader to calling herself head of state and commander-in-chief of the Republic of Canada. And it was here in Ottawa in the winter of 2022 where Didulo made her first high-profile appearances, a coming-out party, as it were, at the Freedom Trucker Convoy.
Hello, everyone. I am Queen Romana of Canada. I am backed by the Armed Forces of the United States. There are no more elections, no more politicians, no more politics in the Kingdom of Canada.
She even went so far as to burn the Canadian flag.
Bye-bye, Canada! Bye-bye, Corporation Canada!
After the Freedom Convoy, she set off with her followers in some RVs heading east, meeting followers in Montreal,
Thank you, thank you, thank you!
Quebec City, signing flags and kissing babies in Halifax.
You are communicating with me telepathically.
Leading her followers to the sea.
I will bless the Atlantic Ocean.
Even outside of Canada, she's a very unusual person. I think she has more, amongst conspiracy theorists, if you will, more influence than anyone I can think of.
Christina Sarteski is a professor of criminology and social work who studies extremist groups at Chatham University in Pittsburgh. She's been monitoring Romana Didulo for 2 years.
I think she was speaking about her hatred of vaccines and mandates at a time when there was a subgroup of other people who also felt the same way, who really did not like the government telling them what to do.
Her anti-vax, anti-mask views pushed her following to 80,000 during the pandemic. People open to accepting all kinds of bizarre claims.
Canada was sold to China by the conservatives and the liberals and all the parties with the blessing of the fake queen.
Is it true that John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive?
This I can tell you, but then I'll have to kill you. Any more burning questions?
Sometimes those claims veer from bizarre to outlandish.
When there are ships, when the ships are in or up there, they change the weather.
She has talked about being from the planet Arcturus.
The Arcturians are the most advanced, like the Yoda.
So there's an alien element to this.
We came as an entire community of the light beings, starships and star systems. See stuff in the sky. Yes.
I think it's connected to the idea that she's very important and very special.
What I do here directly affects up there, and that is why they are escorting and protecting my convoy.
She thinks that she has been sent here sort of in a divine way from God, Master, Creator, and that's the term that they oftentimes use because they're not a religious group, but they do mention God sometimes, and that she has been sent here to save people.
So I'm not a dictator. I am guided by the highest divine beings, and I'm here to deliver peace and prosperity.
I do believe it is a cult. I think the fact that they travel together in particular, and they have a very tight inner circle, that they have certain uniforms they wear, they have certain behaviors they have to engage in, that she is very dictatorial towards the people who live there and demands that they do certain things, that all speaks to me as a cult.
Sometimes she doesn't demand as much as grant permission.
Sorry? Is it true the White House and the Parliament buildings are going to be blown up?
I said you can blow up all of the legislature buildings in Canada.
Back in Ridgmount, it's the threats of violence that keep Roland Davis and others up at night.
Could it be another Waco? When you think about it, yeah, could be. You know, those followers, they worshipped their leader, right? And I think these people do too. Is she capable of carrying out that type of thing? I think so.
When we come back,
He has sold his soul to this woman.
loved ones lost to false promises.
There's nothing that I can do to help him.
When W5 continues.
October 2023. Hundreds of people stage a protest, angry with the newest inhabitants of Richmount, Saskatchewan. The self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, Romana Didulo, and a small group of her followers. Tractors, cars, and trucks circle the school where the group has been living.
Leave our town! Leave our town!
Lots and lots of please.
While the RCMP keep the peace, dozens of Didulo's online devotees from far and wide make their way into the small town to meet the fake queen in the school's gym.
Greetings, everyone. I am Her Royal Majesty Queen Romana of the Kingdom of Canada.
The ceremony for We the People begins, live streamed to Didulo's online followers.
There's relentless PSYOPs operations to discredit Queen Romana and the team's work.
About 50 people, including children, fill the gym. And altogether, they declare an oath of sovereignty to their queen.
Hereby declare my oath of sovereignty.
After the event, Romana greets the group and hands them loyalty money, a made-up currency for her followers. This woman, who we'll call Mary, spotted her father, a devoted follower, in the school gym that day.
I couldn't really make anything out until the point that she was handing out the loyalty money, and then he hugged her.
What was that like?
Oh, like a punch in the gut. Really, it makes me mad, it makes me sick.
Mary asked W5 to hide her identity. She's afraid of backlash from the group. Were you worried?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There was a counter protest. We were worried that my dad would get into a confrontation with one of them and it could escalate to a physical confrontation and he could either be hurt or arrested.
How far would your dad go for Romana?
I don't know. He's not my dad anymore. I don't know him anymore. I don't know what he could do. But I also think if he was led to believe that somebody he loved and cared about was being put at risk, that he would get physical to protect them.
Mary's father first got involved with We the People during the pandemic, perhaps because he also opposed masking and lockdowns.
What was going through your mind when he was beginning to tell you about Romana and the group?
I just kind of laughed it off at first. Like, to me, clearly it seemed like a scam or somebody living out a fantasy online, and maybe he just wasn't differentiating that. And I didn't really think it was a big deal at the time.
And then it became a big deal when he stopped paying his bills.
So first it was the property taxes, and then he stopped paying his credit card. Then shortly after that, we realized that he wasn't paying back his line of credit. He had said that insurance is illegal and taxes are illegal and mortgages are a scam and you don't have to pay any of your bills and things like that.
Your mom could lose a house.
Yeah, absolutely.
So free utilities, free electricity, our water system should be free to everyone. No one should be paying.
If people didn't actually have to pay their bills, wouldn't everybody know this?
By the way, we don't have any more income tax. Yes? I've removed the income tax.
Professor Christine Sarteski says Didulo's decrees are causing real harm.
I have watched people post videos of themselves getting taken out by the bailiff because they have lost their homes. I've seen court records where people are in foreclosure because they believed in her ideas and really believed that they didn't have to pay their taxes, their mortgage, and then they're literally on the streets or they're living in their cars.
My parents' retirement is ruined. Like, my mother will probably have to sell her home and go back to work.
No more big pharma.
Didulo is also promising this.
So we are replacing that with our med beds. Our med beds are actually now under control of our military.
Med beds are made-up healing technology that she claims can cure cancer and even regrow limbs. And watch how her outrageous promises affect her followers.
Now, me and my brother was born with CT cerebral palsy. Will the med beds help cure that?
Yes.
Okay.
It will realign whatever it is that's missing. If you were missing a particular then it will create one as a human being. They will use that signature as a human being and then perfectly create you as an individual.
Oh man, I can't wait to get in that. I'll be running the streets. I won't be walking the streets.
Mary's dad has a traumatic brain injury. He has now stopped seeing doctors.
He'll say it's a waste of time because any day these med beds are going to be here and he'll be cured. It's sad. It's really sad. He has sold his soul to this woman, to Romana. And so it's so hard to know that there's nothing that I can do to help him. There's nothing I can do.
Back in the town of Richmount, Saskatchewan.
So when did this fence here go up?
It was probably 2 weeks ago.
We met with Mayor Brad Miller, just outside of the fenced-in school property where the group has been staying.
What's it been like since they've been here?
Like hell, actually. It just, like, when they came here, first off, people were so irate that they just wanted to get them out of here in 2 days. And it's still ongoing, as you see. The flag is still up.
Within minutes, we turn around to find a member of Didulo's security team recording us.
What do you think, Frank? Anything you want to talk about? How is it being a security guard for Romana?
He's not saying anything? No.
Why Richmond? Like 110 people, 120. Why us? Like, I didn't need it. Our townspeople didn't need it.
Did you know much about them?
No, but when you read about her, I can see why the people wanted action right away. It's terrifying, whatever, and the unknown is terrifying, actually.
Terrifying because of things like this. Letters emailed to Mayor Miller and other Richmount officials threatening their publicly broadcast executions and devastation upon children, grandchildren, and families.
Like, I would be dumb not to say that it doesn't affect myself and my wife. Like, we keep the drapes closed now, and our doors are always locked, double-checked. And, like, I don't want to die sort of thing. It sounds funny what I'm saying now, whatever, but I would take one for the team. If they came and broke the law, I'd be the first one to protect our town, whatever.
Because then that would get rid of them.
They would go to jail, and her reign would be done, yes.
That's pretty extreme.
Yes, it is, yes.
Have you had any encounters with the group?
No, they won't talk to me. They just sit and videotape, and Romana won't talk to me at all. She says she's the leader or the queen, and she sits behind a closed door and doesn't talk to another leader or another mayor or a council. I think that's chicken shit.
Didulo was first invited to town by this man, Rick Mans.
From Richmount,
seen here in an interview on the Fake Queen's nightly live stream.
When I invited Queen Romana and team to come to Richmount, I mentioned we have a beautiful little town, friendly, And I also said that, my building isn't the Holiday Inn, but it's mine.
His building, this abandoned elementary school, was originally purchased by Mans to house a cannabis grow-up. The venture failed to launch, so when Didulo and her group were looking for a place to stay, he reached out. Mans has had some brushes with the law. He was charged with assault last October, and then for not appearing in court. But he's now an esteemed member of the group, referred to as His Excellency.
Then I have some questions for you, Your Excellency.
Mans and a small group of Richmount residents are Didulo supporters, but they also have a history of conflict with the mayor and town council. Mayor Miller says years of small town squabbles snowballed into the current standoff.
You betcha. So this set in motion, I think, all the stuff that is happening now.
There are rumors that Didulo or her supporters could even run for town council.
Does it worry you in a real way, or is it, you think, too unlikely to happen?
No, it worries me. I'm the type that you got to be prepared for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Miller and his council are trying to find creative ways to get Didulo and her kingdom out of town.
We're looking at bylaws now and just trying to outsmart them and outthink them, put the pressure on. Somebody's got to help us out. We're running out of ideas.
The RCMP have told Richmount residents that they're keeping an eye on the group and investigating the death threats, but they can't lay charges or remove the group from private property until there's harassment or imminent threat.
What do you hope for?
Well, I hope for her to move, and then I hope that Saskatchewan would take her reign down. I will never give up till she's done, out of town, whatever.
But others already admit defeat.
The biggest mistake I made was thinking that this was all a joke and all an online fantasy. It's too late for my dad. We're never going to be able to convince him that this isn't real, but maybe other people, other families, it's not too late for their family member. This is just the way it is. I can't save him from this. And I broke down and I started crying and I said, Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. I'm so sorry, and I can't help you. I don't know what to do.
Coming up,
Hi, everybody!
wild claims and false facts.
Does Romana believe that she's an alien, for example?
I think she is convinced.
When W5 continues.
On a cold winter night in late 2023, a group of southern Saskatchewan residents gathered to talk with W5. I'm Morella. Great to meet you guys. We want to talk just about what's been going on in the community. We're in Ridgmount, population 120. There's a strong turnout here, about 80 people. Sitting by himself right at the front, resident Rick Mance, who invited the fake queen to town. How many of you in this town have been, I'm going to say, genuinely frightened about what's been going on in the last 2 months? Just a show of hands. Okay, fair enough, thank you. Speaker after speaker steps up to the mic to share concerns, including Roland Davis.
You asked if we're afraid. We're all afraid. Everyone, every person in this room is afraid because of the unknown actions that the group may take or may not take. Are there death threats? There's several out there. Lots of them, probably 25 people, I think, on the list.
There are lots of people that don't like what's going on but are too afraid to say anything.
Shauna Sen, a former school teacher, received 2 threatening letters.
I'm very concerned that there are so many people in our country who are gullible enough, or, I have to say, stupid enough, to think that this is actually real, that this person makes claim to being the leader of our country, our whole world, and the ridiculous promises that she makes, and that if enough people e-transfer money to her, that she will provide many, many, many things. She's not going to give anybody anything. accept trouble.
Town Administrator Barbie Cook also got a warning letter.
It is very traumatizing to receive that. That is not normal. I don't know whose life, who has a life where it's normal to receive an email with a death threat.
I grew up in this town.
Some of the speakers, like this woman, have lived in Richmount all their lives.
I've had to see my family, their mental health go down the frickin' drain because they don't want to leave their farm or their property to go do stuff with their kids because they have to look over their shoulder. It changes their whole life.
Residents say Didulo's followers are constantly recording them. Brittany is concerned about her children.
Your little kids come home and ask, why are they videoing us? Why is there a fence around? Like, how do you answer those questions to little kids? Like, it's not something, you move into these communities to feel safe, and our kids don't feel safe. I don't feel safe.
I have 4 young children in this town, and there's been a lot of changes that have been made. One of my child is 13. She would go for bike rides every night.
Take your time.
Your kids are supposed to have freedoms.
Your sense of safety is gone.
It's gone.
Not everyone here is on the same side.
You're not getting the whole story. Some of these people have threatened their neighbors. Yes, you have. And it's not pretty. People get hurt, and people are getting hurt here on both sides. No, I'm not.
But
so
if I can
off. I'm sick and tired of listening to you.
People like you supporting idiot there.
So the call makes it better?
You know what? It's about time you learned that there's 2 sides to everything, and that's the community as well.
Many in town blame Rick Mans for what's going on.
My name is Mayor, and I want them gone, including him, the leader of the pack, or sorry, His Excellency for brains.
I know a lot of you have, or some of you at least, have directed your comments to Rick. So I do want to ask Rick if he has anything he wants to say or respond to today.
Hail the Queen.
No. Okay. So he does not want to respond. I just want the
How are you? W5 did discreetly approach Mans outside of that town hall to hear his side of the story.
Some of the residents have some concerns. I thought maybe you could speak as well.
Really nothing to say. This is my private property. Why do I have to explain who's on my property? Because somebody doesn't know them or doesn't like them.
We tried to speak with Didulo's other followers. We wanted to know what would make them walk away from their own lives to be here. They wouldn't speak to us. W5 did track down Kim Churchill, who is a former follower.
I had went shopping, and I just bought them some food.
You were really into supporting them.
I really thought it was the change that we were going to see.
Churchill started as an online follower and met Didulo for the first time at the Freedom Trucker Convoy in Ottawa.
I'm like, oh, I got to meet this one, right? I got to see what she's all about. And she's got an entourage, and then there's so many Canadians that came across the country to be there with her. So she was really lining up with everyone that was an activist or protesting the mandates and the injection.
So when you heard what Romana was talking about, because of your stance during COVID, it aligned.
Yes, absolutely. She invited us to go into her RV and have coffee with her to chat. She seemed very soft and feminine and maternal.
Is she charismatic?
Yeah, yeah.
Does Romana believe what she's putting out there, that she's an alien, for example?
I think she is convinced. And I find that stuff entertaining, I guess, you know.
But believable?
I don't know. I thought she was an elevated being. So to me, she had a plan. She had kahunas. So I was like, okay, I'll join that bandwagon, see, you know.
Some pretty personal questions.
Yeah.
To join the bandwagon, Didulo's people interviewed her, sending messages like this.
So in this one we're looking at, it says, are you willing to not shower regularly, work shifts at night, work 24/7, not do laundry for weeks at a time?
Yeah, well, that's my life pretty much anyway, so.
You were used to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready to do whatever they needed, Churchill packed up her belongings in early 2023 and crossed the country in her RV to live with Didulo and her inner circle.
You thought this was going to be a life commitment.
Yeah. I thought this is it. You know, we're going to transition this country and we're going to be under natural law. No more slavery, no more taxation. It's all golden, right?
Until it wasn't.
It was actually the polar opposite of what I thought it would be. It was completely dysfunctional.
Churchill lived with 7 others, including Didulo. They all packed into 2 RVs and a small bus.
Hi, everybody!
Churchill, hired to do security, soon became the cook. She says most of the team worked on the group's webpage and live stream. At one point, Churchill even co-hosted the QRTV nightly news.
So, Kim, how are you doing today?
Awesome.
The nightly news updates came with pleas for donations.
Any donations or contributions to this effort is greatly appreciated.
Mostly it was admin work, right? So admin work is to keep their grift going on Telegram.
You call it a grift?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all about the computer, right? Because that's where the money is. It's a digital fantasy. She's a content creator. And she's brilliant at it.
Soon enough, Churchill started to have questions.
I sent them $3,000 to help them with winter accommodations. After the fundraising, Romana said, we're ending the fundraiser, but we're going to take a rain check. And then I was like, well, then I want my money back.
What did she mean by she was going to take a rain check?
She wasn't going to use the money for winter accommodations.
What happened to your $3,000?
She pocketed it. It's all for herself.
She also had concerns about the way some followers were being treated.
We were in the car one time, and it was at night, and she said to Kevin, pull over. There's a car behind us. So Kevin pulled over, and I thought, oh my God, like there's nowhere to pull over, right? She said to me, if Kevin didn't pull over when I told him to, he would have been shot. And I'm like, whoa, it's pretty serious.
Were there other threats of violence?
She talked about treason. Anyone that spoke badly about her in the media would be hung, charged with treason and hung and executed. And
could she be abusive?
She is abusive, psychologically abusive, emotionally abusive. Like there's no love there.
Did it feel like a cult to you?
I didn't recognize it as a cult until I got back. Because I was like, when I finally left, I'm like, what the heck? What did I just go through? What is this? When you're in an abusive relationship, you know, they want you isolated. They don't want you talking to friends and family. They control your every move, manipulate you. Like it's all that. You know, if she wasn't the focal point, she was not happy.
Only 10 days in, Churchill had seen enough.
I said to the group before I go, like, there's no love here, and I am not going to be in the presence of, or the absence of love. If this is how she treats you guys, can you imagine if she was really leading Canada? People that still believe in Romana, they have family members who are concerned about them. So I would just say, just be patient, because she's going to be stopped very soon. That's my goal. She needs to stop.
Up next.
We are here today to make a citizen's arrest against the members of the Peterboro Police Department.
Misguided anger takes a violent turn.
Hey, oh, 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 oh.
When W5 continues.
On a warm summer day in August of 2022, a group of Romana Didulo's followers gathered here in front of police headquarters in Peterboro, Ontario.
We also have sardines.
Thank you, I'll take some.
Packaged sardines.
Didulo was there too, handing out snacks. It seemed peaceful enough at first. Group members were there to arrest Peterboro police officers. Their crime? Enforcing COVID restrictions. This is Didulo supporter Frank Curtin.
We are here today to make a citizen's arrest against the members of the Peterboro Police Department for their involvement in the crimes against humanity.
It didn't go well.
You guys are involved in the COVID crime, and we're placing you all under arrest. Well, actually, you're under arrest. No. Hey, oh! Hey! I suggest you stand down! Stand down, please. Stand down.
Stand down.
Stand down.
You guys are under arrest. Citizens
Stand down.
Stand down.
6 protesters were charged, 2, including Frank Curtin, for assaulting police. The fake queen remained inside her RV the entire time, live streaming to her followers.
So the triangular craft, military craft, showed up, and that's the special forces, right above the Peterboro Police Station.
Professor Christine Sarteski from Chatham University in Pittsburgh watched events unfold. She claims the group had darker plans that day.
And the plan was to actually kidnap the police, put them on trial, and then execute them. She speaks very violently towards, large groups of people, healthcare workers, anyone who was involved in the pandemic in any way with masking efforts, vaccines.
For each child that you have harmed, you will receive not 1, but 2 bullets on your forehead.
I think the danger lies in how active her followers are, and this is evidenced by what we saw at Peterboro.
So we're going to place you under arrest with the rest of them over there. Get out!
These types of groups don't get much attention until they do something really bad, and then they get attention. I think that we should absolutely take them seriously when they make threats. We should listen to them.
Threats from the group hang over the residents of Richmount, Saskatchewan. It is most unsettling for those who have received so-called cease and desist orders, like Roland Davis.
I wish I knew why I got the death threat. I was like, okay, so why am I on this list? Like, what have I done? Is it fearful? It's still fearful because we don't know what they're going to do. They're unpredictable. She says not 1, but 2 bullets right here in the head. And, she even does that on her Telegram.
These are threats she makes online.
Yes, it is. It's how do you live with that on a daily basis?
Back in October 2023, the RCMP met with residents to hear their concerns.
We have supplemental resources here to provide for the safety and security of the community of Richmount. So give us the space and give us the time to manage the concerns that's...
Not everyone was convinced police were doing enough.
You're not guaranteeing our safety at all.
Police set up a mobile detachment in town to prepare for the arrival of Didulo supporters and the resulting protest.
When we had the town hall meeting with the RCMP, people were frustrated. People would ask them questions like, so with the cease and desist orders, why aren't the cops doing anything? Well, we're investigating. Every answer they gave was, well, that's still under an investigation. We can't really answer that question. That's not the answer they wanted to hear.
We went looking for answers from the RCMP's top cop in Saskatchewan, Rhonda Blackmore.
You know that some of the residents got a cease and desist order. What they're saying here is that you will face publicly broadcast executions upon yourselves and undeserved devastation upon your children, grandchildren, and families. And I'm just wondering if that's not enough to consider the group dangerous and charge them.
At this point in time, we have no indication that there's any imminent threat. We would certainly notify the public if there was an imminent threat, but we have no indication of that. It goes back to who made those threats. And if it's not someone from the group, if it's someone online making the threats, then we have to trace that and make sure that we can do that. We have to be able to say that that individual is responsible. The burden of proof in a criminal code investigation is very high. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. We have to be able to say that beyond a reasonable doubt, this individual is the person responsible for making those threats.
Do you feel that it's a hit to the confidence of the community if you're not able to act and in some way make them feel safer because they don't feel safe right now?
It's not that we've washed our hands of the situation or that we're not going to take any follow-up investigation.
But that's how they feel.
And I understand, you know, it's certainly concerning, especially for a small town, but we're certainly there, we're monitoring the situation and making sure that if there is any indication of criminal activity, that we will be there and we will investigate that thoroughly.
So it's not clear who sent these?
At this point in time, that's part of our investigation.
The RCMP says they can't make any arrests because they don't know who made the threats. But W5 did find out who sent at least one of the threatening emails. Remember Mary? She saw one of those letters posted online.
It was posted by a man by the name of, and it was my dad's name.
What was that like?
My heart just sank, my stomach dropped, I felt like I was gonna throw up. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he had gone that far and done something like that. I feel ashamed that somebody that I love and care about would threaten that to somebody and make people feel scared and worried for their lives that something might happen to them in their own home, in their own community.
Mary says the Calgary Police Service did meet with her father, but only cautioned him to not do it again.
Do you think he should have been arrested?
I don't know. I wrestle with that one. My dad is absolutely a financial threat to himself, a financial threat to my mom. If he's not going to physically carry out acts of threat, he's certainly emotionally and mentally threatening people by sending these letters.
W5 emailed the RCMP to ask why Mary's dad wasn't charged. Their answer: to preserve investigational integrity, we are unable to provide information on our investigational steps or evidence gathered. As for Romana Didulo, we asked several times for an interview but never received a response. This came as little surprise since Didulo has never agreed to an interview with mainstream media. But that didn't stop us from trying to find her. It wasn't easy because her entourage kept moving around. Days before we arrived, the group left the school compound and moved to a farm just outside of town. W5 producer Chad Derrick and I headed there.
Yeah, I'd go right up to there.
I see there we go.
That's the property.
Yeah, we could pop out here and have a look.
The group's vehicles are tucked out of sight and well beyond a perimeter fence.
How are you?
But within minutes, a truck from the compound arrives.
I can't tell if you're saying anything. The phone's in front of your face. We're from W5. We just want to talk to Romana, or we want to talk to you. Do you want to come and talk to us? Will Romana come and talk to us?
We get no answers before the driver speeds off. We visited the Richmount school the next day. It appeared that work was being done.
How are you? Is Romana around if you want to talk to us?
Once again, we asked Didulo's followers if she would speak to us.
We're from W5. Does she have anything to say to the people of Richmount?
We never did hear from Romana Didulo. She and her group braved the cold Saskatchewan winter, live streaming every night from the school, leaving Richmount residents like Roland Davis wondering what lies ahead.
I would have never dreamed I would have a cult living in my backyard. This can't be happening. I want to wake up from the dream sometimes and say, okay, they're gone. Let's just, go back to normal. It doesn't happen because they're here. They're real.
I don't feel that I'm really living. I feel trapped on earth. And I think the worst thing for me is that I can't remember. I was praying, hoping that I would remember. Nothing.
In 2010, we covered the story of a mother who was injured during an attack that killed her daughter and left her with no memory of the horrific event.
The beating wiped out her memory. Laura has not been able to identify her attacker and help police find the man who killed her daughter and killed life as she knew it. W5 found the convicted killer living quietly in Orillia, Ontario, about 20 minutes from Cumberland Beach. Joined by W5's producer, I approached Elson with hidden cameras.
Hi. Brian?
To
Hi.
ask him about the unsolved murder of Leah Souza.
They think you're a suspect. And why did they say they suspected you? Was it because you killed Sandra Bannister? Is that why?
Why do you want to talk about it?
You can watch all of our documentaries on W5's official YouTube channel. I'm Avery Haynes. Thanks for watching.